there is a kind of pain that doesn't arrive all at once. It seeps in slowly, quietly, disguised as love, loyalty, and trust. For 50 years, I believed I was living a simple, honest life. I never imagined that the man I trusted more than anyone would turn my kindness into the perfect tool for betrayal. My name is Elena Miller, and until one ordinary afternoon in Phoenix, my life followed a routine I found comfort in. I woke before sunrise every day to prepare pies using recipes passed down from my mother. Apple with raisins, savory beef pies, my hands knew those motions by heart. I sold them on the same street corner I had stood on for years, then returned home to clean, cook, and care for my husband, Robert. Robert and I met more than 5 decades ago at a state fair. He was charming, hardworking, and full of promises. We married young, built a modest life, and survived hardships together. We never had children, something that hurt deeply, but we learned to fill that silence with routine, responsibility, and faith. I believed that was enough. Robert worked construction his entire life. He wasn't romantic, but he was reliable. Or so I thought. We owned a small house with 2 bedrooms, a kitchen big enough for my baking, and a backyard filled with cactus and chili plants he tended proudly. It was our world. Everything changed on the 15th of March, 2022. That afternoon, I returned home earlier than usual and found Robert sitting at the kitchen table, pale and tense. Without greeting me, he told me to sit down. He said he had received a call about a family member in trouble, a cousin I had never heard of. Her name, he said, was Sophia. She was recently divorced, sick, unemployed, and had nowhere to go. According to Robert, she suffered from thyroid issues and needed rest, care, and stability. He told me that she would be coming to stay with us for a while. I didn't hesitate. I cleaned the spare room. I washed the sheets. I even felt a strange warmth at the thought of caring for someone new after so many quiet years. I believed kindness was never a mistake. I was wrong. Because that day, without knowing it, I opened my door to the greatest deception of my life. But when Sophia finally walked through my front gate, I had no idea she wasn't a guest, she was the beginning of the end. Sophia arrived 2 days later with a small suitcase and tired eyes. She looked fragile, thin, pale, quiet. She spoke softly, avoided eye contact, and thanked me repeatedly for letting her stay. Everything about her appearance made me want to protect her. I treated her like a daughter. I cooked special meals, brewed herbal teas, and encouraged her to rest. She stayed mostly in her room, only coming out for meals or the bathroom. She said she was weak and following doctor's orders. Robert, meanwhile, became unusually attentive. He checked on her constantly. Asked how she slept. If she needed anything. At first, I admired his compassion. Then small things began to shift. Robert started coming home with gifts for her, magazines, chocolates, expensive shampoo. He began dressing better, wearing cologne he had never used before. He even started getting haircuts more often. When I asked, he brushed it off, saying he just wanted to look respectable with a guest in the house. Sophia also changed, but only around him. With me, she was quiet and reserved. With Robert, she smiled, laughed softly, and seemed more alive. Conversations stopped abruptly when I entered the room. Laughter faded the moment I appeared. One afternoon, I came home early and found them sitting together in the living room, talking animatedly. When they noticed me, both fell silent. The air turned cold. That was the first time I felt like a stranger in my own home. I told myself I was imagining things. But my intuition didn't rest. I noticed new clothes in Sophia's room that I never saw delivered. She claimed friends sent them. I never saw a package. She also seemed healthier, her color returned, her appetite improved, yet she avoided job searching. Then came the teas. She asked me to prepare certain herbal drinks, claiming they helped her condition. A friend later mentioned those same teas were commonly used for pregnancy nausea. When I gently asked Sophia about it, she panicked and denied everything. Still, the signs kept coming. Late night hunger. Morning sickness. Strange cravings. Loose clothing. One night, she asked me if I ever wanted children. The question cut deep. When I asked her the same, she fell silent, her face heavy with something that looked like guilt. By September, I could no longer ignore it. I confronted her directly. She broke down and admitted she was pregnant. She claimed the father was her ex-husband. She begged me not to tell Robert yet. I believed her. I defended her. I promised to help. That night, she told Robert. And he reacted with far too much understanding. I thought the truth had finally come out, but what I didn't know was that this confession was only another layer of the lie. From that moment on, my life revolved around Sophia's pregnancy. I accompanied her to doctor visits, cooked carefully planned meals, bought maternity clothes, and even knitted baby blankets late at night. Caring for her filled the emptiness I had carried for decades. Robert was deeply involved too. Too involved. He bought vitamins, attended appointments, and spoke about the baby with an emotion I had never seen directed toward anything else. When little Olivia was born in January 2023, a healthy baby girl with light eyes and a familiar dimple, I cried with joy. Robert cried too. We brought Olivia home, and I became her caretaker. I fed her, bathed her, rocked her to sleep. For the first time in my life, I felt complete. I believed God had finally given me a child to love. But something was wrong. Robert didn't behave like an uncle. He behaved like a father. The way he held her. The way he calmed her instantly. The way he stared at her as if she were his entire world. And with Sophia, his tenderness crossed invisible lines, touches that lingered, looks that spoke without words. One night, I overheard a conversation outside Sophia's room. She said it was unfair to me. He said it wasn't time yet. He said the baby looked more like him every day. That night, my world cracked. I began watching. Writing notes. Recording dates. Collecting moments. Then one afternoon, while they were both out, I searched her room. What I found destroyed me. Photographs of them together, intimate, smiling, in love. Hospital documents. And a paternity form listing Robert Miller as Olivia's father. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I sat on the bed holding the proof of a lie that had been unfolding in my own home for years. Sophia was never his cousin. She was his mistress. And Olivia was his child. I had raised my husband's secret family with my own hands. But that devastation wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something far more dangerous. They thought I was broken, but what they didn't realize was that I had just found my power. After the truth revealed itself, I became an actress in my own life. I smiled. I cooked. I held Olivia. I slept beside Robert while my heart hardened into something unrecognizable. They didn't know I knew. That was my advantage. I gathered evidence, bank accounts I never knew existed, messages mocking my kindness, plans written in words colder than knives. They laughed about me. Called me easy to fool. Said I was happy being useful. That was the moment my sorrow turned into resolve. I planned carefully. Quietly. On a Saturday afternoon in June, I watched them leave together, Robert, Sophia, and Olivia, pretending to be a normal family. When they returned, I was ready. I laid every document on the table. Every photo. Every message. When they sat down, smiling, unsuspecting, I looked them in the eyes and told them the truth. That I knew everything. And this time, I was the one in control. But confronting them was only the first step. What I did next changed all our lives forever. For a moment after I laid the evidence on the table, the house was silent. No baby cries. No excuses. Just the sound of truth settling where lies had lived for years. Robert's face drained of color. Sophia clutched Olivia as if the child could shield her from what was coming. They didn't deny anything, because denial was impossible. The proof spoke louder than their fear. I told them they had one night. One night to pack their things and leave my house. Not tomorrow, not next week, by morning. Robert tried to speak. He said my name the way he used to when he wanted forgiveness. He promised explanations, apologies, change. Sophia cried, saying she never meant to hurt me, that she grew to love me, that she was afraid. I listened. Then I stood up and said something that surprised even me. I spent my whole life taking care of others. Tonight, I choose myself. That was the end of the conversation. They left the next morning. The silence that followed was painful, but clean. No whispers. No pretending. No poison in the air. Just me, my home, and the truth. In the weeks that followed, I did what I should have done long ago. I spoke to a lawyer. I secured what was mine. The house. My savings. My dignity. Robert tried to negotiate, but for once, he had no power. Lies age badly in daylight. I told the people who mattered. Not with shame, but with clarity. I refused to carry embarrassment for sins that weren't mine. Some were shocked. Some were angry on my behalf. Others said they had suspected something but never imagined the truth was that deep. I didn't seek revenge. I sought closure. And then something unexpected happened. I began to heal. I still think about Olivia. She was innocent in all of this. I pray she grows up loved and protected. But I no longer confuse sacrifice with love. Love should never require your silence, your self-respect, or your dignity. At 70, I learned the most important lesson of my life. Kindness is not weakness, but it must have boundaries. Betrayal doesn't destroy you unless you let it define you. And it is never too late to reclaim your life. Today, I still wake up early. I still bake pies. But now, when I look in the mirror, I see a woman who survived deception, and chose truth. And if my story teaches you anything, let it be this. Listen to your intuition. Protect your kindness. And never be afraid to walk away from a lie, no matter how long you lived inside it. Because sometimes, losing everything you believed in is exactly how you finally find yourself.